Usually I tell people to avoid Spotify playlisting as their main form of music promotion, and generally I recommend people avoid hiring companies that charge a flat fee for guaranteed coverage on Spotify playlists. This is mainly because you have no way of knowing ahead of time if the company is legit, how they grew their playlist, and if the people actually streaming your music are in fact real people. But additionally, all of the data you get from Spotify playlisting in general tends to be much worse than the data you get from Facebook ads. Despite that, I ran a Spotify playlisting campaign with one of these companies, and in this video we're going to go over how it went. But before I go through the data, I need to tell you how this all happened. I haven't hired a Spotify playlisting promotion company since 2019. In 2019, I was trying anything that I could possibly find to figure out how to promote my music. I haven't figured out the whole Facebook ads thing yet that I've used exclusively from 2020 on to generate like 3.5 million streams and over 13,000 Spotify followers for my solo project alone. Back in 2019, when I was trying these playlisting services, I hated how I would use them. I would shoot up to like 20,000 monthly listeners, and then a month later I go down to less than 1,000 with really no follower growth, no saves, no recurring streams to really show for it. It was just kind of like an ego boost and a bunch of streams, which was cool, but not really what I wanted. So since then, I just avoided it entirely, but recently I saw a review of a company from someone that I really trust. This person is Brian Hazard, aka Color Theory, who runs the blog Passive Promotion. If you've never heard of his blog before, it's basically like my channel, except in a written blog format, and he's been doing it for like over a decade with hundreds of articles. So it's a really cool site. I'll link to it in the description. If you haven't seen it, it's totally worth checking out. So he was reviewing this company called Moonstrive Media, which is essentially Spotify playlisting company, but they also offer YouTube playlisting as well. They generally talk about how they grow their playlist using SEO methods. SEO stands for search engine optimization. So when you type in something on Google, how to market my music using Facebook ads, and I come up, that's because of search engine optimization that I have done to try and make that happen when relevant, right? And so Spotify is the same thing. If someone goes on Spotify and types in great dancing songs, it's going to come up with songs, but also it's going to come up with a playlist. And Moonstrive Media has tried to, game the system to grow as many playlists or own as many playlists as possible that rank well for certain search terms that get a bunch of organic traffic for free. And they even develop their own internal tool where they can look up a playlist and type in a keyword and see how that playlist ranks for that keyword. So I hit them up. They offered to give me a free trial run of their service. And 6 weeks later, after the campaign's run, and it's been 2 weeks after it ended, we're going to go through all of the data. All right, so here we have Spotify for Artists, and we're going to go to Music. And the specific song that I chose was my song Fire, because it was actually falling quite down. It was getting less than 1,000 streams a month. So I thought it would be a great example of a song of mine that's like good quality, that's not too old, but it's not getting that much love in terms of streams anymore. That would be kind of cool to see how it went. So I'm actually going to go to my releases page here, because the other reason I chose this song is I released it as a single, which means that I can look at the album level stats for that single, and we can plot the streams, listeners, streams per listener, saves, and playlist ads separately day by day. The reason why I'm doing this is because first I want to show you why I think that Moonstrive does genuinely deliver the service they provide. It seems like they're not running bots. It doesn't seem like they're doing anything sketchy. It seems like it actually is what it is. So I'm going to show you that first. You obviously see this massive spike here, right? Like this, a lot of people get scared of this, but this is all playlisting, really. Like any playlist company you hire, there's going to be some time limit associated with their playlisting. And this is what it looks like. You get added to a playlist, and then roughly 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever the duration is, you get kicked off. And this is why in 2019 I was so frustrated with Spotify playlisting. So that same problem applies to Moonstrive because it's playlisting. But we do see that after the campaign ended, and I might be able to, no, I can't zoom in there, but before the campaign we were getting like 40 to 70 streams, and after we were getting about 100 to 110 per day. So it did increase the overall streams after the campaign ended, which is a good sign. Now, the other thing I want to point out why I think their service is actually like real, it's legit service, I can go to streams per listener. Prior to the campaign running, like we kind of have this 1.05 to 1.2 streams per listener. During the campaign, we had like 1.05 to 1.13-ish range streams per listener. So it stayed pretty constant. Like everything before here was organic, and this was the campaign. You don't see a huge difference there. Like if we saw this for the whole duration of the campaign, and I don't know what this is. This is probably just a random person that really enjoyed the song and just listened to it a bunch of times that day or something. But during the campaign, we don't see any weird spike where you get like 15 streams per listener. I've seen that happen with other people that hire companies on Fiverr. And that sucks, right? Because it's like an obvious sign that you just paid for fake crap. We don't see that here, so that's a good sign. Looking at the save rate, you're going to notice the save rate's quite bad. Now, when it comes to Facebook ads, I usually want a save rate of greater than 50%. So that would mean like we have 23,000 listeners here. We'd want like 12,000 saves. Now, it's a little different when you're talking about like big numbers like this. Not big, but bigger numbers than like the first week of a campaign. But this save rate is like abysmal, right? Like on a certain day, we can look at the listeners, and there's like 700 that day. And if we go to the saves, I think this is the same day, we had 16. So it's like less than, like it's like 2 or 3% or something like that. Just quick mental math. That's really bad, but that's actually typical of playlisting to kind of have single-digit save rates. It just is what it is. People listen to these playlists passively. They're not even really, a lot of them probably don't necessarily know the name of your song. But the people that saved it, that's great, and we do see an increase in saves. The playlist editions things was actually a little bit better. This percentage is still pretty rough. However, it's better than the save rate, right? Like some days we actually had like 30 playlist ads. So those are all signs that, a certain fraction of the people that heard us in the playlist liked the song enough to go add it to their library and save it to a playlist to listen again going forward. And those are all great signs. Now, those things can't exist in a vacuum because there are ways to game all of these numbers. And since I'm so skeptical of playlist promotion services, I wanted to look at some other factors to further kind of validate that this is safe to use. Because so far, everything's checking the boxes. It looks all good. And by the way, they didn't sponsor this video. They're not seeing this video before it goes live. They did give me a free campaign, and they did give me an affiliate link, which you can get in the description with a 5% off coupon code if you want to try this yourself. I just kind of want to show you this data and show you exactly what I've learned from it. So let's go to locations. Like something like 86% of the streams in the last month have been from the playlists. And we are going to go through the exact playlist in like a minute. But I wanted to show you this. So we do see most of these streams came from the US. And some people are excited when they see, like I talked with someone, I do a lot of consultation calls, right? And I saw someone that was really excited about how they added to a bunch of playlists. And like almost 100% was from the United States. Like I think it literally was like 99.9% was from the United States. And I was like, that's kind of weird. Like it's very suspicious. Like, how would a playlist be real and organic and just have stuff from the United States? It doesn't really make sense. Also, it was all from like one city for the most part. And I was like, that's really weird. So, and I've seen that happen to a few people that have done playlisting in the past, and those are kind of telltale signs that something's up. Here, definitely US dominant, as we can even see that in the stream count here. It's 5,000 for US. The next closest is 760, but it is fairly well spread across a lot of different countries. So it's definitely dominant US, but it's definitely present in every other country. And we can prove that by just graphing some other countries here. So if I take out the US, you see the same general slope. Like all of these three countries did have a substantial increase during the campaign, just not as much as the US. And when I show you one of the names of the playlist, I think it might make sense why, but we'll get to that soon. So next we look at the cities, and it's like pretty diverse, right? Like if we looked here and we saw some random small Midwestern town that had like 20% of all the streams, it'd be like, why is that a thing? That makes zero sense. That's not like these are all big cities: Sydney, Brisbane, Sao Paulo, Melbourne, London, Chicago, Dallas, LA. These are big powerhouse cities, especially for music and the big populations. So it makes sense that we would have a big chunk of people that are listening there. If it is truly like organic, right? So now we get to switch over to playlist mode. And I got to point out something about the playlisting because they asked if it'd be possible for me to not show any specific playlist. Because apparently in the playlisting world, it's really competitive. And if someone sees a certain playlist works well, then a competitor will rip it off, copy all the music, copy the name, copy the thumbnail, and try to create an equivalent thing. And then the competition thing becomes weird. So they told me I could, however, like if they thought it would be beneficial, I could just show them all. But I kind of want to just honor that. And I'm going to show you one specific playlist title and talk through, but I'm going to keep a lot of data hidden for that reason, just because they did offer to let me show it. but I want to just be friendly. So I'm going to blur off the screen now on the side, and we're going to see the stream numbers, and but we're not going to be able to see these playlists here. So I'm going to go to since 2015, and this is going to show us all the playlists. Now, some of these playlists aren't their playlists. I do have a spreadsheet I'll show you in a moment that lists them out to see the total stream count. But like this playlist here is theirs, so is this one, so is this one. And going down, this one here, this one here, this one here, this one here, and I think there might have, no, this one here, and I think that was the last one. So it was like 8 playlists or something. I forget exactly what the number was, but I want to bring up one specific example. I'm not going to show you the playlist, but I'm going to tell you the name of it. It's called White Girl Playlist, right? And so there's a few playlists that are kind of similar vibes to that. Like this one's White Girl Playlist. There's another one that's like almost identical. It's kind of the same idea. There's another one, and I'm going to change the name a little bit, 90s Pop Hits, and another one that is Best Music Ever or something, Best Songs Ever. So it's very, very vague. And I think that is just inherent of the SEO playlisting thing. It's not super specific. Like playlists grown with Facebook ads tend to be very tailored. Like I have a playlist called Cyberpunk Synthwave. Super specific, performs great with ads because I can target those people. But probably not that many people are targeting Cyberpunk Synthwave when they're searching on Spotify. However, a lot of people are searching for probably white girl playlist or white girl music or just white girl or white people music or something. Because obviously, like I think that playlist has 100,000 or 50,000 followers. It's something pretty big. And I don't know how good the song fits. I looked at the music in the playlist. It's all just generally like poppy electronic music, which very much does fit this song. And considering that I'm a white dude that made this pop electronic song and I like pop electronic music, maybe it's a stereotype that this is white girl music. Because the other one is just something also about white folk. So maybe it's something that people search, but my song kind of fits on there. I found it hilarious, but that's the thing. So just keep that in mind. You might be added to some kind of weird finds if you do SEO playlisting. With Moonstrive, but I'm guessing anyone else that does SEO playlisting, it'll probably be like that too. It's not going to be super specific. So I made a spreadsheet because of course I did, and I've pre-blacked out some of the playlists. So all of these were specific playlists, but I've hidden out the ones I haven't named yet. So I already told you 90s Pop Hits, White Girl Playlist, Best Songs Ever. This was the total number, oh sorry, this is really small, huh? There we go. This is the total number of streams per playlist. So White Girl Playlist got me 5,700 streams, so did 90s Pop Hits. This Best Songs Ever only got me 97. We get a total of 19,270 streams for cost per stream of 1.8 cents per stream. So how does that compare to anything? Well, you could look at this video right here where I calculate the cost per stream when I did Submit Hub and Playlist Push. I don't remember the results of that, but that's probably a great video for you to check out anyways because it's very relevant to this video. Now, in terms of Facebook ads, how does it compare to this? Really just depends on if the campaign went really well and get you algorithmic stuff, or if the campaign went really bad and didn't. Like, if your Facebook ad campaign did what it's supposed to do and trigger algorithmic playlist, you probably get a better than 1.8 cents per stream. But if it didn't, it's probably much worse than this. And playlists in general are kind of known for having a pretty great cost per stream in the short term. But as you saw in Spotify, I'm going to have to blur this out again. As you saw in Spotify for Artists, they don't provide a big, a big tail, right? Like the things die off a lot. And we're in comparison to Facebook ads, like if I were to go over to releases and go over to my song, I don't know, Black Hole, which I'm not promoting at the moment. At least I don't think I am. Actually, I'm almost positive I turned it off a couple weeks ago. But you kind of have this long tail. Like it got some algorithmic love one week in Release Radar, and then it dropped off. But I think my ad campaign stopped, I don't know, somewhere around here, and it's still just kind of chugging along. And if I could go to another song, just for example, of I don't know, I'm definitely not promoting Over anymore. I haven't promoted this for I think quite a while. And you see, like, it's this slow burn, right? It's not this dramatic overnight thing. And some songs burn a lot slower and a lot longer, but it depends. So Going back to here, and that's kind of the cost and comparison side of things. And just for some fun numbers, this doesn't really matter. Like revenue made $67.45, net loss was $272. So we didn't really spend $339 for this. I mean, I spent nothing for it, but you wouldn't have spent $339 for this. You would have spent $272. You can't expect to make a profit with a thing like this. Like a lot of people ask me that, and I have a video talking about the money side of things here. I had a campaign where I did make a profit using Facebook ads to promote my music, and I talk about in that video how like it's great, but it's really not the point of these campaigns. The point is long-term audience growth to long-term have this all make sense, not short-term. But yeah, that's just that money there, info there in case you're curious. So in general, my, I guess, like opinion review of Moonstrive Media is that it's a pretty solid service. Like it seems to do exactly what it promises to do. The playlists seem organic. They've been around for a long time, and the numbers all look okay. And the pricing, I think, is competitive or fair compared to what else is out there on the market. The people there are super friendly. I talked to Janik over there, and they're also really just open to explaining everything and just telling you how to vet their playlist. So it seems like they're doing everything the right way. Now, well, I still wouldn't recommend that you just like abandon all your ads and do playlisting, because again, playlisting inherently just has a lot of downsides. I think blending these two strategies of like, if you had $1,000 for a campaign, one thing I might consider doing in a future song is maybe instead of just putting all of it in ads, which is what I've done, I might try doing a $339 campaign like this at launch while doing the whatever's left over, $651 or $61 in Facebook ads, to see how like the really high quality data Facebook ads compared with the cheap volume of Moonstrive Media playlisting pairs to help me get on the algorithmic playlist. Now, I did also trial their YouTube service, and there were some cool results with that, and I'll link to a blog post that I did, also reviewing the Spotify and the YouTube, that you can check out in the description. And if you want to get 5% off to try your own Moonstrive Media campaign, that's in the description as well. If you want to learn how to run those Facebook ads for yourself, but I've got over 3.5 million streams and 13,000 Spotify followers, check out this playlist right here. And if you prefer a more organized course with access to a community, my country list, and placements list, check out this course right here. Wow, I've been talking a lot. That was really fast. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you next video. Bye.